Welcome everybody to the Golden Drop. My name is Sharon MacDonald and I'm very happy to be here. This is a call that I host each week and I co-host with other people when they jump on, and they'll offer tips and tricks of how to use essential oils in odd, interesting ways you would never ever imagine. So we've got a lot of neat and unique tips that we offer, and then we open it up for Q&A for questions that you have about your product. We'd like to welcome every one of you that is here, and if you're not affiliated with essential oils and this is brand new to you, we want to welcome you and thank you for being here with us today. If you're from the FDA or the FTC, we want you to understand that we are just ordinary people who meet together to be able to learn tips and tricks about how to use essential oils in a very simple manner. So without any further ado, I want to share my quick little tip today. And one thing I want to talk about is the importance of dilution. And what does it mean to dilute an essential oil, and what do you use to dilute an essential oil? And there's lots of different ways to be able to do that. And the importance of dilution is really awesome because you're going to get a really longer effect. And I'm going to talk about a little bit why we're going to do that. So doTERRA actually puts out in their catalogs, and when you become a member of doTERRA, this is different than other companies. You're not going to a person and buying essential oils. You are actually obtaining your own wholesale membership to be able to purchase essential oils at the wholesale price and participate in programs if you want to be able to get even a deeper discount. And so in your material, you receive a booklet. It's called a catalog, and it shows you all of the products that doTERRA has. Within that, you see an oil safety guide. I usually tear these out and have them laminated for my family so that they can see very easily what essential oils need to be diluted, what is fine for the skin is called neat, and what essential oils are hot, what essential oils are sensitive, So there's a internal, aromatical, topical, N for neat, D for dilute, and S for sensitive. And it gives you these symbols, and it tells you every single essential oil. So I keep those handy for my kids to be able to look, because I've had a child use oregano. Okay, and so my highlight is on oregano today, and what the benefits of oregano are. And oregano is an essential oil that's actually a really good painkiller. You didn't know that, I bet. It is very good for pain. And but you must dilute this. That's one of the reasons why I love the new doTERRA Touchline. The doTERRA Touchline is perfectly formulated for every skin type, and it's already diluted and pre-made in a roller bottle. I mean, it's perfect. So this is a really great essential oil that you can apply along with your other essential oils that help aid the body when it's in pain. So when those pain receptors are high. And so sometimes you'll be using your normal stuff, like deep blue is great for supporting the body when it's inflamed and in pain and your joints are sore. And then white fur is another one that's really good for that. Douglas fir has a little bit of those same properties. It's also very good. AromaTouch is one of my favorites because it has marjoram, and marjoram is also good for these types of ailments. But the cool part about AromaTouch is it has in it peppermint and lavender, and it has cypress in it. And what that does is it helps create circulation. So this is really important when we're trying to move pain away, right? And have this really simple process of soothing the muscles and helping them recuperate, right? And recover. And so, it just works so well. So going back to oregano. Oregano is one of those essential oils that is very good at a lot of things. One of the cautions I want to offer you is you must dilute. And we're going to talk about dilution in a minute after I talk about the properties of oregano. So there was a situation where I had a client look up in the book and in a book, and it said to use oregano for a cyst. And this would be a good option because, you know, cysts oftentimes have the opportunity to turn into an infection. And so this seemed like a viable option for these guys, and they used oregano and they didn't dilute. And it was in a very sensitive area, and it caused blistering, it caused the tremendous amount of pain and the skin to peel because they didn't know this principle of dilution. So what I want to tell you is what when they wrote me was, what do I do? Like, this is in so much pain, like we don't know what to do. The cyst is going away, but we are in a lot of pain. And so I said, well, stop using essential oils and drench it in coconut oil. Do you have any of that? Yes. We have both fractionated coconut oil and the coconut oil that we use for cooking. And I said, either one will work. What we want to do is be able to cool the skin and help it repair itself, because you've basically burned the skin using this oregano. And so we got that together. We didn't use any other essential oils. And then once it was starting to heal, we started to apply lavender to this area that was so sensitive, so that the skin could repair itself and rejuvenate and be able to, you know, do everything that it needed to do. So what is dilution? Let's talk about that. Dilution can come in the way of lotion. doTERRA has a new formulated lotion that you guys will love. It's very thick, it's very rich, it's very, very good. And so what you do is you just put in your hand the lotion, and I like to use like coins to be able to identify what is the best way to dilute. So for me, when I apply essential oils to my kids' skin, I will generally use the size of a nickel, whether it's in lotion, right? Or I use fractionated coconut oil. You could also use olive oil. You can use grapeseed oil. You can use jojoba oil, okay? So you can use any of these types of oils. The point is to dilute those oils that are going to be sensitive to the skin. Clove is another one. You really want to dilute these hot oils because they are hot and sensitive to the skin. So you just put it in your hand, and then you put 1 drop of the oil in that you're wanting to for the area that you're using. So in the case of oregano in this area, she would only have needed, honestly, for this little space that she was doing, only use a dime or a penny in size of lotion, and I did recommend lotion, and then 1 drop mixed in and cream it on and let it sit on that, even over the straight diluted, in a jar kind of a thing with oregano. The other thing that you can do is they've got these really awesome, I don't have any of my tools because I'm at a play place at a party for my kids. So there are these little awesome drams that are about this big. It's about 1 ounce that's in there, and it's got a little pinch top. So it's like an eyedropper. And if you fill the whole thing with, and I'm specifically talking about oregano, okay, and you fill the whole thing with fractionated coconut oil or your choice of a dilution, okay, then you're going to drop in 1 to 2 drops of oregano into this, and or more. It just depends on what you're doing, and then you can apply it to the area. So this can work well for things like skin tags. Okay, maybe you have some warts that you're wanting to get rid of. This is a really good option because you can be very direct with your application. And that's why I like those little droppers. You can also use what's called a pipette. You've heard me talk about pipettes, and I've showed pipettes. You can use those as well to be able to pull out just enough, like those thick essential oils like vetiver and patchouli. Those are really thick oils that sometimes you don't know, it's really hard to get them out of the bottle. Okay. Another one is a myrrh. Myrrh can, because it's a resin, it gets really crusty. And so anyways, dilute, 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 dilute. And when in doubt, honestly, you guys, just get the doTERRA Touch. If you don't want to think about it and you're one of those people like, this is too complicated for me, just buy the doTERRA Touch. I have put doTERRA Touch straight on my face when I've had some sinus issues and wanted to get, help some respiratory. That's what I used, and it works so well. So that's my tip for today, because I wanted everybody to understand dilution. And there's lots of crazy ways you can be insane about how many numbers of drops to how many, volume wise. I don't get into that nonsense. To me, I want essential oils to be super simple for people. But there are ratios that you can look at, like how many drops of fractionated coconut oil to how many drops of an essential oil. If you want to get into that, it's out there. Search it. You'll see those. You'll see them on our resource pages. Go Green Group has those up in the files and in pictures. So I just don't get into it. I just dilute it, and I don't pay attention to those numbers at all. I'm smart, and I use a nickel, a dime, or a penny size, and then I add 1 drop of the oil that I'm trying to, cool down, and then I use it. So that's my tip for the day. Let's open up the mics for people. If you want to ask a question, just unmute yourself. And we also want you to be thinking, if you've got an awesome tip, oh my gosh, I'd love to hear it today. So please share your tips and ask your questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those little touch kits.
Yeah.
I love them. But when I use them all up, I want to know, if I refill them, about what % do you think I should go? Fill them up with the FCO, and then maybe put 10 drops?
So there is a little chart somewhere, Rose. We're going to have to dig for that, but I know that we put a chart up on our Go Green group. And you could go into Go Green Group and into the little search bar, it says search this page. Have you ever seen that on Facebook?
Yes.
So you go into search this page, and you just put in the word ratio. Okay, try that. And then just dilution. Try that.
Oops.
And if not, I'll find a fresh picture today, and we'll have, when Renee posts the replay, we'll have her add a picture in with that today.
Well, I wonder if I call doTERRA, if they would approximately say what the percentage is in their proprietary. That's too proprietary, right?
It's not even about being proprietary as much as it is being prescriptive, right?
Gotcha.
That's the concern that they have. That's why all of our recipes went off the internet, right? Because the FDA and the FTC want to make sure that we're not prescribing.
Sure.
Right. And so when we can put recipes up now, but we always have to put that disclaimer up. This is not a prescription. This is just what works for me and my family.
Okay. Because I was thinking a 50-50 for my touch. And
so tell me what are you trying to dilute? Let's break it down into, like, what are you exactly wanting to dilute?
Right. For me, it would be just refilling those bottles, because they already have the great labels on them.
Yeah. And
so I'm basically just wanting to get the same result without having to actually buy it and use some of the oils. Sometimes just knowing, that.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So my guess is going to be, for most of those, except for oregano, right? Oregano in a 10, because those are 10 milliliter bottles, right?
Right.
You're going to fill up with oregano, that whole 10 mil, and you're not going to use more than 5 drops.
Okay.
Right? Because that's a very hot oil.
Right. Everything else is safe in the touch kit to do 50-50 anyway, right?
Correct. But on oregano, I wouldn't do 50-50. That's just too much.
No.
But for your other ones, like peppermint and breathe, and lavender, all of those, all of those other ones, melaleuca. Melaleuca, you could probably even go more melaleuca than the fractionated coconut oil as well, just like lavender. Right. So I do know that there's somebody has gotten a sheet out there, either on Pinterest. That's where I pulled it before. It was rampant after the doTERRA Touch came out because people were like, I just want to use my oils and make this. Right. And so I think that there was someone who got into all the numbers and they did that, and yep.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny is that even though you got to know that you say that they work better if they are diluted more.
Let me finish that thought. I should do that, shouldn't I? And finish that thought. Thank you. They do work a little bit better, and here's why. Do you know? Because if you know, I'd love for you to share.
I do not know.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
What it does is the fractionated coconut oil, you hear it called carrier oil a lot, right?
Right.
And so a carrier oil is going to drive it into the skin, into the dermal and the subdermal levels. And when it has an oil to hold it, right, another lipid product, that's why water just drives it in, and it just is like a punch. That's why water and oil don't mix. So essential oils are like a fatty lipid product, right, from the plant. Mm-hmm. And so these botanicals love to hook on to another like product, and then once it's in, then it stays longer. It doesn't evaporate. It still goes into the bloodstream, but it still is holding on, so it just lasts longer. So
you're not losing it to evaporation.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So what happens when we put it straight on our skin, we do have evaporation that just naturally happens, right? Mm-hmm. So when we're diluting it and we're using a carrier oil or a lotion, we're allowing it to sit in the skin and in that dermal and subdermal level a lot longer. And so the delivery time is longer. So you get more out of your money, basically. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you for sharing that.
Especially, here's another thing, Rose. You bring up a good thought to me as I'm talking this with you. This is a really good one for people with emotional issues who are using essential oils to support their emotional state, because what happens is it stays longer in the body. And so the emotional touch, people were like, why did they put emotional touch in a roller bottle and dilute it a little bit? It was for this very reason, so that people could get a longer use out of that. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't know any of the ratios for those. I have no idea, but you can kind of create it on your own and play with it.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions, you guys? Go ahead, Daleen, unmute yourself.
For those of us who are new, right? What if we get oregano in our eyes?
Oh gosh, thank you. A peppermint too, oregano and peppermint. Again, do not do any water. I'm a big fan of milk when you get it in your eye. Really just washing it out with milk, but it's got to be fatty milk. And we only drink whole fat milk in our house. Whipping cream would be the same thing. You could use whipping cream, the cream, because it's going to have a lot of fat to be able to dilute that very quickly. So anytime you get any essential oil in your eye, I don't care what it is, you want to get some sort of olive oil. You want to get milk, fatty milk, creamer, anything that is non-fat. You want full fat, which is why oil works so well. Just make sure it's not chili oil.
Right.
So those will really help that. And again, it's to help that oil, connect to something. It's got to connect to something, and then it helps the body get rid of it and flush it out.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question. Did you ever hear my story about Jason in past tense?
No, but I've done the past tense by accident on my face.
It's super awesome. Maybe I'll share that at the end of this call. We'll see. All right. Thanks, Daleen. Anything else? Any other questions? We've got people on phone, so feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question if you're one of those people that has a question or a tip. Don't forget, you can do a tip too.
Hey, Sharon, I have a tip.
Yeah. Oh, good. Thanks.
My son, who is has to dress up, has some polo shoes, and at school he stepped in some gum and it's right on the top. So today I used lemon, just wiped it right off, and his shoe is all nice and clean.
That's awesome. It's so better. It's better than anything ever. Better than peanut butter. You can take stickers off. You can take gum out of hair. Yeah, awesome. How long did it take you? And tell us exactly what you wiped it off with. Did you wipe it off with a paper towel? Like, can you walk us through the process, Renee?
Yep, all I did was I just shook I had a 5 ml, so I just shook it onto my finger and then just rubbed it right on with my bare finger. And then I just took a napkin and just kind of worked it off, and it just literally pulled itself off.
Isn't that awesome?
I didn't have to scrub. I didn't do anything. And he looked at me and he goes, of course, oils.
Well, yeah, it's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that tip. That's sweet.
That just happened to this morning.
That is awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, it works on tires too. You can pull gum off of tires, because that's nasty if you don't want gum on tires. Sweet.
Okay, so how do I tell people that you can drink this, but you can clean with it all in the same time without them throwing their hands up in the air of like,
good thought. Here's why. The body recognizes essential oils as its own chemical constituent. Okay. And I know constituent is a really big word. So let me put that into layman's terms. Our body recognizes natural things, right? Just like when you look outside, like I'm right here out in the middle of, a concrete building, and I'm looking at the metal pole over there. Yeah, I have elements of metal, but I'm not going to take metal into my body and chew it up and eat it, right? Because too much of it is going to be something that my body's going to go, wait a minute, that's not good for me anymore. Right? And certainly plastics are one of those. So we think about what we do with plastic. We cook in styrofoam. We warm food up in styrofoam. We do all kinds of things with styrofoam, specifically styrofoam and plastic. But the body does not recognize that. So when these foreign objects and chemicals get into our body, the body surrounds it with fat. It's called brown fat. And brown fat is there to protect the body from all these chemicals. Chemicals from your lotions, chemicals from your shampoo, chemicals from all these products. So what happens when you put essential oils on the skin, they go in and they start to pull these toxins out. And then the liver and the kidneys, flush it out of the system. So that's why in doTERRA we talk about health on every single level, right? Every level. You want to clean out the chimney, right, before you start pulling these toxins out. Or you get something like that's called a healing crisis, right, where the body just starts to dump all these toxins, and your body's like, wait a minute, and you get flu-like symptoms, and your body starts maybe breaking out in hives because it's trying to expel this junk that you're pulling out of the system, and you've gone too fast, too much, too fast. So when you're saying, yeah, use them internally, that's great, but you want to make sure that you're drinking a lot of water. Like for example, my stomach really does very well. Something in my digestive tract, and we haven't figured it out exactly, but it's helping the liver. What I've learned is this: it's helping the liver to digest and put out the glutathione that it needs to be able to digest my food, because my body isn't pulling in nutrients. So I use grapefruit essential oils, 15 drops in the morning and 15 drops at night. And I actually had a woman write me a Facebook message, and she said, you are putting toxic levels of essential oils into your body. And I wrote her kindly back, and I said, I understand where you're coming from, but if you've dealt with the pain that I have dealt with digestively since I had this surgery, you would not be saying this to me, because you don't understand that my liver is super clogged right now and having a hard time, and the grapefruit is helping my liver, my gallbladder, and my kidneys, all three at the same time, do something that it is not able to do on its own. But the grapefruit is allowing it to do that. Not lemon, not lime, it is grapefruit. And it's because grapefruit produces this glutathione. And I've been on this journey for 6 years trying to figure out what's wrong with my gut. But when I had this hernia repair, it really threw my stomach into this, like, I'm not going to work anymore. And it's because the liver is full of whatever is going on, right? And so I don't have any answers yet. I'm in the process. They just took my blood work again to figure this out, and I'm working with a doctor on this. So they're doing the research behind it. So it's not all right to go and tell somebody that a protocol that they are on is detrimental to their health. If they're being stupid, and if I was taking 15 drops of oregano, now that would have been a different story, right? That is very detrimental to your health. And that's why doTERRA is a totally different program, because we're advocate mentors teaching people how this process works. And we're asking all of our mentors on questions that we don't know, just like you just asked this question. How can I tell someone to take it internally when, it can totally take off gum off of the bottom of a shoe, or it can totally help dissolve these toxins out of our body, and the brown fat can start to go away and we can see weight loss, right? And it's because the body recognizes natural. It does not recognize synthetics. Synthetics go in the body and are harbored by this brown fat to protect the organs in the body from it, right? And as soon as those toxins are released, then it's the kidney, the liver, right, that filters this out, and the gallbladder, and moves it through the system. If those are clogged, you're going to have trouble. So that's why cleansing that with good, clean, raw food, lots of vegetables, lots of clean water, no soda. Soda is the worst thing you can do to your system in many ways, just because of the chemicals alone in it. But they also inhibit the body from processing. It really clogs up the liver, the gallbladder, and the kidneys. So that's why Zendocrine is such a beautiful cleanse, right? And you add DDR Prime to that and Terrazyme, and you get this very beautiful, gentle cleanse to be able to help these organs filter all the other junk that you're pulling from your body. So that was pretty technical for an answer, wasn't it?
No, but it was good. Absolutely. And Sharon, hey, Colleen has a chat question for you, hon.
Okay.
What do you tell
it.
people who's on meds that cannot take grapefruit about what you are now talking about, Sharon?
Okay, thank you. So the difference between grapefruit essential oil and the fruit is the way that its chemistry is. Okay, so the fruit of grapefruit does interact with medication, specifically blood pressure medication and metformin. Okay, and what happens in this is it blocks. It's a blocker. The fruit is, but the essential oil is not. The essential oil is far different. The essential oil from a citrus is extremely different. The chemical constituents, the chemical makeup, the chemistry of that oil is far different than the fruit. The fruit has a totally different effect. So it's separate. It's totally different. You won't have that. And that's why essential oils really do not interfere with medications. The only time I've heard of medications being affected is by frankincense. And that's for people who are on neurological medications, because frankincense is so powerful. It goes right to work and kind of basically does the job that most neurological medications are putting out there to do, right? And so it kind of makes the medication a little less effective, but then overpowers that medication, because the body, again, recognizes a natural product over a synthetically produced product. So does that clear that up, Colleen? Can you give us a response?
She did. She said, thanks. I get it a lot about the grapefruit.
Always, always. People say it all the time. So she's not alone. Any other tips, questions today?
Do you want to end with your past tense?
Yeah, I'll end with it. We are 2 minutes over today.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, so we had just started using essential oils heavily in our house, and we just gotten our doTERRA, and I had just come home from convention. I was only 2 weeks old in using doTERRA, and Past Tense was a brand new essential oil. And I came home, and Jason had a really bad migraine, and he was laying on the floor just with his hand on his head, and he said, I've got the worst migraine. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's this new essential oil blend called Past Tense. I'm going to use this on you. So I go over and I lay on the floor and I rub his temples. And with Past Tense, you want to keep it way back in the hairline because the aroma of the peppermint gets in your eyes and can be a little irritating sometimes. So kept it way back there, and I put it way up here on his forehead, and I put it on the back of his neck. And then I walked away and I kept looking at him laying on the floor, and I was like, I wonder if I just put it between his eyes, rolled it between his eyes, if maybe that would really help, what was going on right here in the center of his head. So I went over and I rolled it, and sure enough, a roller, man, you just touch a roller. And it's better to just touch it because you roll it, you're getting like 5 drops. Sure enough, it went right into his eye, and he jumps up. He's like, my eye, my eye. And he ran over to the sink, and I'm like, don't put water in it. Dr. Hill said don't put water in your eye or anywhere with essential oils that will drive it deeper. Whatever. That's not true. We all know to flush anything out with water. I'm like, you're going to be in so much pain. I'm telling you, just grab milk. Take milk. Even olive oil. It's right there. No. He insisted. So sure enough, he is in thriving pain, writhing all over the kitchen with his hand like this, my eye. And I was laughing my head off so hard at him. I felt so bad at the same time because I was like, I've killed my husband. Like, what's going to happen? Is his eye going to be ruined? Anyway, he didn't listen to me. And then I said, why don't you just put some milk in it? Like, here, just take the milk. So he took the milk, and immediately the pain was gone. And he looked at me and goes, why didn't you tell me that in the first place? And I was like, are you kidding me? I told you. Dr. Hill said no. So it was our first experience with essential oils. And so dilution is really close, near to my heart for lots of reasons, that in particular. And one thing he said after that was, he's like, oh, he goes, you know what? My headache's gone, totally gone, but my eye hurts like heck. There you go. That's my story. So thank you so much for joining us today. Many of you have the question of like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Can I invite people? Always invite people to Golden Drop. People who are just questioning you about essential oils. You can find back episodes off of the Vimeo. You just look up Sharon MacDonald and Vimeo. It will be right there. And we're going to be transferring those videos over to YouTube as well, because a lot of people have, and we have a YouTube channel. We should have it in both places. And so what you want to do is you just want to be able to just jump on, share that with people, share these videos. They usually last 10 to 17 minutes. Very rarely do we go this long. So thanks for hanging in there with us. And then to pay it forward, use your loyalty reward program. This is a program designed to give you rebates on your already discounted pricing. So you're already buying a wholesale, you can get a deeper discount of 10 to 35%. That means at the end of the day, for many of your products, you could be getting them at 55% off. This is a huge deal. The way those come back are rebate points into your pocket that you get to then redeem for free products. Yes, there is a redemption fee. It's just a service fee for the people who are filling your box. It's a $3. Every $100 you spend in free points, you pay $3 to redeem it. And remember, shipping with doTERRA is free. What that does is if you pay $6.99 or $3.99 for shipping, it's going to go back in your rebate points as 4 or 7 points. Okay? doTERRA's goal is to be able to get shipping for free. So be looking for that in the next year, because doTERRA will be having completely free shipping. And especially if you donate $1 to Healing Hands, which is a foundation to help people with microloans and community projects that help build communities on their infrastructure from the ground up. And these loans are given to them and free money to be able to help rebuild their communities and help bring education into rural areas for students. days for girls, all kinds of projects are being helped with Healing Hands. So $1 donation, that will be coming in the next year. So be looking for it. So thanks so much for joining us, you guys. Again, I'm Sharon MacDonald. I'm happy that all of you were here today. Anybody who's interested in co-hosting, just drop us a note. We'll happily co-host you, and we'll just introduce you, and you get to share your quick tip, and we're happy to have you join us. Thanks so much, you guys, and have a great day. Bye.